So here's what I tweeted, and I'll have to give you what I was thinking when I tweeted this, and then what I learned other people think about the same thing, which was different than me,
So
which
it's
was
like a
a
Rorschach
valuable.
tweet.
It was a Rorschach. Is it Rorschach
Yes.
or Rorschach? What is it?
Shock.
Shock. Rorschach.
Yeah.
It's really just Rorschach. I was thinking that, but I can never remember how to pronounce that. Okay, here's what I tweeted. If table flipping Jesus is our favorite Jesus, we've lost the plot. If Pharisee insulting Jesus is our favorite Jesus, we've lost the plot. If the Jesus who, out of love for others, laid down his rights and picked up his cross and called his followers to do the same, if that Jesus isn't the Jesus we're devoted to, we've lost the plot. And then I tried to make it a little more clear and said, every day when I walk out the door or log onto social media, I need to remember the plot. Christian doesn't mean little Rambo. It means little Christ. I'm on the cross with Christ. I die with Christ. I have the power to love my enemies with Christ. Remember the plot. Okay. Then I kind of thought, well, that was fun. Goodbye. Send that off into the wherever. So, and a lot of people agreed. It's one of my most viral tweets ever. But what was surprising is that I got strong pushback from both the right and the left. Like I managed to offend across the spectrum with that tweet.
That's a gift.
And then had some people who were offended that people were offended. So there were layers. It was like Inception. There were layers of offense on top of offense. And my wife had to push me backwards into the bathtub to stop the whole thing. And then I woke up and, no. Caitlin, why do you think people on the right would find that offensive?
I think probably on the right and the left, it's the same, which is that we get into the table flipping business, I think usually most of us for good reasons. We see injustice, we see problems in the world, and we're like, okay, I'm going to be the person that is aggressive and loud and makes a big deal about it. But then there's this like pernicious thing that happens where you just enjoy making a mess of things and causing a scene and being aggressive and loud for whatever reason. And when someone pushes on that button that says, hey, what's your reason for really liking table flipping Jesus? People on both sides are going to get upset about that because it betrays the real motivation in the heart. I would think some people would get upset because they really have found that in whatever church background they come from, there wasn't enough emphasis on justice and God being a God of justice and that being embodied in Christ in the way that he fought for the marginalized. Table flipping Jesus was flipping tables on behalf of people who were vulnerable. And we want to like see that and retrieve that when we haven't had that in our church background. But then there's going to be the part of it that gets messy when you just love the act. There was a purpose for flipping tables. If you just like flipping tables for fun, that's the problem.
Yeah. Okay. Sky, did you, my wife, when she saw my original tweet, she immediately thought, oh, you shouldn't have done that. She said, people are going to be mad about that. Yeah. And so here's what I had in mind when I tweeted it. Here's what I had in mind, because it led to a lot of interesting conversation. Someone wrote a whole essay in response, and then David French ended up discussing it on the Dispatch podcast yesterday with Kristen Dumais.
I heard that.
Kristen Dumais was on the podcast, and they discussed my tweet. And he boiled it down to which Jesus do we prefer, the Jesus of the cross or the Jesus of the whip? Because he went after the money changers with the whip. And do we like the Jesus of the whip more than the Jesus of the cross? What I was thinking when I tweeted it was, and I mentioned this when I go out onto social media, am I trying to be little Rambo or little Christ? What am I doing? Some of the meanest people I've bumped into on social media have been from a Christian background and want to tell me how bad I am or how wrong I am, or tell someone else how bad or wrong I am, and do it in a very mean-spirited way. And when I say, that's really mean, what you're saying, the response is, well, Jesus wasn't nice. Jesus wasn't a nice guy. So there's this whole school of, Christians aren't supposed to be nice, and nice Christian is one of the problems with Christianity because it's not masculine, and Jesus wasn't nice. Look, table flipping Jesus, Pharisee insulting Jesus. It wasn't nice to call Gentiles dogs. It wasn't nice to call Pharisees, thieves and, whitewashed tombs and all that stuff. And so I find that those two incidents, the Pharisee insulting and the table flipping, are pulled out as defenses for bad behavior.
Right.
And that's what I was getting at. But then it really got, because some people immediately thought, so if you're a victim of abuse, if you're a victim of injustice, you don't want Jesus to defend you. You don't need some table flipping on your behalf. It's like, oh, yeah, you do. Okay. So, okay. Yeah, but that's not what I meant. And then it just went on. It's still going on. It's like 6 days later and it's still bouncing around Twitter. Sky, help me out.
I didn't see obviously all of the responses to your tweet, but from what I did see, I think everyone's wrong. I think everyone is wrong,
including me.
Maybe.
We're all wrong.
Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe.
Okay.
No, I don't think you're. I don't.
Sky, hang on, everybody. Hang on. This is going to be good. Okay, Sky, go.
Okay.